Hey everyone, this is Derek here, and in this video I'm going to show you a pretty ridiculous technique that you can use to instantly figure out how far away any enemy in the game is. So this may sound like ridiculously powerful, and it's actually built into the game. So this is not a hack or a glitch or a bug or anything like that. It's actually built right in. But I didn't know about it for the longest time, and I have a feeling that many of you probably don't know about this trick either. So we're in training mode. I'll show you this both in training mode as well as in just like a classic. And I'm going to go ahead and stand right on this little like spot here. So we know that this is 10 meters away because it tells us it. But what if there was a better way? Like, for example, how far away is this hill up here? Let's say that there's a guy up by this tree. How far away is that tree? Well, we were introduced to two new quick commands that have changed the game, and I was going to make a video on these specific commands, and I think I still will because they are so interesting. But one of them is enemies ahead. So enemies ahead basically says, hey, there are enemies in this direction. And it puts up a little marker, and it tells you how far away the enemies are. So if we go ahead and pretend that there are enemies at this tree, you can see enemies ahead, but underneath that, 86 meters. So let's try this out on this guy. So 25 meters away, we'll aim at that target. And you don't actually need enemies ahead. So the power in this technique is that you don't actually need an enemy there to use this as a rangefinder. So people for the longest time have been figuring out how to use the scopes as rangefinders, like the VSS scope, for example. You can tell depending on how like high someone is, how far away they are, how small they are in the scope. But this is just easier and more accurate. So 25 meters, I'm getting 27 meters. So perhaps it's from the picnic bench, but it's just crazy. So let's go ahead and see if it works while we're ADSing or aiming down the scope. So let's go ahead and pick something a little further away. How about this guy? This is 100 meters away. So all I'm going to do is bring up my quick commands, click on enemies ahead, and 101 meters. So there you have it. That is pretty cool, pretty crazy. So how about this broken wall? How far away is that? Let's do it again. 117 meters. So you can use this with a scope, or you can no scope it. So I can no scope those blue crates out there. Let's see what that is. 201 meters. Or I can zoom in and say how far away is that chicken on top of the crate. It's probably going to be roughly right around there-ish. And we've got 228 meters. So you now know exactly how far away the chicken is from you. And there's no like calculation required. You just use what's built into the game. So let's do one more in training mode, and then I'll show you how to utilize this in classic too, because it's a little different there. You can use basically the minimap and this in combination to know exactly where someone is, even if they're doing a good job of hiding. So let's aim at that middle island, that marker, 188 meters away. So this is incredibly powerful, especially for players who are more like advanced in the game, because if you know how far away someone is, it's easier to account for bullet drop. It's easier to account for bullet velocity. So if you know something like, oh, we're shooting this, we're going to be shooting the M16, which shoots at roughly, I'm going to get it wrong, but roughly, let's say 800 feet per second or something. So I don't know if that's right or not, but if 800 feet per second is roughly, like 260, 270 something meters per second. So that means that it should take, let's see if we can find something about that far away. That's 564. That's really far away, man. Let's see if, let's go here. 160. How about this tree? Maybe the tree will, tree is 298 meters. So that means that this should take roughly, this is an MK, so it's firing a little bit slower than that, but you can see it takes roughly a second to travel to that tree. So now that you know how long the bullet's going to take to travel, you know how much you have to lead somebody if they're moving. So this is how it gets into more advanced sniping technique, but having a rangefinder built into any weapon is incredibly powerful. So that's how we're using it in training mode. Now we'll go ahead and jump into classic, and I'll show you with the minimap how you can use, like I said, this technique in combination with what information you're given on the minimap to produce an even more powerful result. Alright, so here we are in a game of Classic on Miramar, and you can see that once again, just like in training mode, this function of enemies ahead gives you the distance, just like that, 210 meters. So now, if you were wondering where exactly they are, like let's say there's somebody right over there by that tree. See, it's over 800 meters, so we actually can't do this because people don't even render that far, so that's why that limit is there. So 350, let's pick this closer rock. So that rock, now if you go to your mini map, you'll see those large dark lines. Those are 1,000 meter cubes. So each cube here is 1,000 meters by 1,000 meters. That means people don't even render that far. But each little square, as we zoom in more, each light gray square, they're pretty hard to see on the mobile version, but if you're using a desktop map like PUBGmap.com or PUBGmap.io, they are more visible. Each one of those is 100 meters. So when we're looking in this direction, we're looking 350 meters away, we can see 100, 200, 300, and 50 roughly. So that is exactly where that enemy is. So you can very easily, once you get better at this, once you use this this method of finding out the distance to something and then knowing which way you're looking, you can actually mark exactly where an enemy is on the minimap, which then makes it a lot easier for your teammates to know where those people are, to watch out for them, or to potentially take them out. So again, this is more of an advanced strategy than like a beginner one, but for beginners, you know, it's pretty cool just to know, like, oh, I see somebody at this building over here. I don't, but you know, I see someone at this building. I'm going to use enemies ahead, and they are 119 meters this way. But like I said, what you can do then is you can count the squares on the mini map, and you can see like 129 meters. That's roughly exactly where they are. So now all your teammates know, oh, this yellow marker is where the enemies are. I can use this to either try to flank them, or to avoid the area, or to just run in and engage them, or whatever. So just a pretty cool, like I said, rangefinder built into PUBG Mobile that I have a feeling not that many people know about. And it's incredibly useful. I'm sure there are even other use cases that I haven't thought of yet. And if you can think of one of those, definitely leave it in the comments below to help the community out. So let's see if we can find where that person is. It sounded like he was pretty close. So I would guess that he was somewhere over by the arena there. So let's see if we can find him real quick. But not that it's going to really matter too much with this method. But for example, we know that this shoots roughly 300 meters per second. Oh, there he is. He's up there. So now I can go enemies ahead. You see 160 meters. It's going to take about half a second for this bullet to reach him. So that means I don't need to lead him much if I want to start shooting. So there's another guy down there. Let's see if we can take a couple shots and see if we can hit him. But yeah, my name's Derek G. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you out, definitely give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends, because that really does help the channel grow. And consider subscribing if you haven't already for tons more PUBG Mobile content, including gameplay, tips and tricks, and a whole lot more. I hope to see you on the battlefield soon.